I'm going to make him into a wild animal. This is, and the thing is, I wish that I could have said this is just a narrative. This is just an analogy. This historically happened. There was a period of time where Nebuchadnezzar was a madman. It's written in history. But, see, if we stop at the story, we miss the point. No. Watch this. See, this is why God knows what he's doing. Here it says in verse 34, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, that's not Daniel saying that? Okay. Verse 34, at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted my eyes to heaven, and my reason returned to me. Some of y'all should say amen right there. God did not leave him sitting out there in the street. He did not leave him crazy. God was intentional about restoring back his reason. He gave him the time period over. Now it's restored back. His reason returns to him. Right? Praise God. You can think again. And I blessed. The first thing he does when his reason gets back to him is he blesses God. Amen. He blessed the Most High and praised and honored him who lives forever. For his dominion, and this is the extra push now he puts in. For his dominion is everlasting. Is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom endures from generation to generation. All the inhabitants of the earth are accounted as nothing, and he does according to his will among the hosts of heaven and among the inhabitants of the earth. None can stay his hand or say to him, "What have you done?" See, when you and I go through something, and I say this unapologetically, there are times in our lives where God warns us not to go in a particular course of action, not to go in a particular direction. Do not do this activity. We do it, and there are times where God decides, I'm going to administer punishment. I'm the one to bring about the consequence. But don't worry, because the same Bible says the Lord punishes whom he loves. And so God does not leave us in that stupor state. He does not leave us in that state of depravity, but he uplifts us and he can restore back things that we have lost. God is not doing this for a person who comes up in church every day. Daniel is about a religious figure in a secular society. He's surrounded by gods. He's surrounded by all this polytheism that's taking place. Everything about him says another god. But it was about determining that they were going to serve God no matter what, acknowledging the fact that they messed up, but that God is going to bring it about again and bring back hope. So no matter what we may have gone through in our life, no matter what challenges, whatever mistakes we have made, God is not so far away that he cannot save. And so then we find that Nebuchadnezzar, here it says in verse 36, at the same time my reason returned to me, for the glory of my kingdom and my majesty. He gets back his kingdom. My majesty and splendor returned to me. My counselors and my lords sought me, and I was established in my kingdom. And still more greatness was added. More greatness was added to me. Now, and this is how he concludes his legacy. Now, I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and exalt and honor the King of heaven. For all his works are right, and his ways are just, and those who walk in pride, he is able to humble.
Praise God. Praise God. Power. Thank you, Jesus.
It's in the book. This guy is dealing with some person who has so much pride. And he saves them from themselves. and I are not so far off that God can't save. No matter what you and I may have done in our lives, God provides hope. He continuously sends people to warn and finds different ways to instruct and finds different ways to pour out himself to give us chance after chance. See, anytime we look at Daniel, we like to preach Daniel and his tenacity and his audacity. The book ain't really about Daniel. It ain't really about Daniel. First of all, Nebuchadnezzar is God's servant. It's about saving Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar has the power of communicating to other people in that kingdom about the Most High God. But the book is really about God's kingdom.
Amen.
When we look at the statues, there was a stone that was formed without human hands that came and destroyed all of the kingdoms. We know in prophecy that this is showing all the kingdoms that happened, because right after this, Babylon, then you have the Medes and the Persians, and then you go down the list in history. What we have coming one day is God's kingdom coming to set up. But his kingdom will not be built by the church who is full of pride. It will be built by people who are humble to God.
Amen. Amen.
Now, you and I are not so far off. But here's the challenge. Holy Spirit, make this plain. If you and I are not careful about our pride, it will pass to the next generation. The next chapter of this book, in Daniel 5, Nebuchadnezzar's son. Right? The story where he's carrying on a party, right? He brought in the gods, all the ornaments and items from out of the sanctuary and the temple of God into his house to throw the party, right? To dedicate it to his other gods. An invisible hand
Yes, it did.
writes on the wall, "You have been found wanting.
Yes,
Your
sir.
kingdom is taken from you. Interpretation is given." That night he lost his life. New kingdom was set up. Because he was full of pride. Nebuchadnezzar writes, puts it in the book, told his kids, made it clear across the kingdom. But by that time it may have been too late. Because they get to a particular point in time where people are making their own decisions. So my question to you today is, what decision will you make today about God? Each and every one of us have a relationship with God. Can't say they're good relationships, but we relate in some way to God. But what kind of decision will you make about God? After all the experiences that Nebuchadnezzar went through, all of them, all the experiences, even being crazy for 7 years, he admitted that everything that God did was right. It does not, ladies and gentlemen, have to get to that point. It doesn't. It does not have to get to that point.
Amen.
God himself showed up over and over again, and Nebuchadnezzar kept admitting, you know what? This is a one true God, but he just slid right back.
So what do we do?
Till God had to do something extreme to get his attention. Where are you and I in our life's journey? Has God now become extreme, where he has to now really do some things to get our attention? Or has he appeared and shown up by just a word today? At this time, 2 calls I'd like to make. First, if you don't have a relationship with this God that I'm talking about, if you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, you could have been raised in the church. I know people who don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ in church. You don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, but today you said, Lord, over and over again, you've demonstrated how much you care for me. If that is your desire to begin a relationship with Jesus Christ, you want to know what that means. How do we start this? I invite you to come forward. And secondly, we're going to do this in one group if people would like to. Secondly, if you had a relationship with Christ, but you just kept turning back, just kept turning back. Lord, I won't do it again. Turn back. Lord, I won't go to this person's house anymore. Turn back. Lord, I won't speak to anybody in this particular way. Turn back. Whatever the issue is, if you would like to begin a relationship with Christ, we want to say, Lord, you know what? I walked away so many times. I want to turn back to you. I invite you to come to the forward. Come forward to the front. I'm going to pray over your life. Is there one? If you're watching online, you could just kneel wherever you are. We just make the assumption that God is working through. There's one. Praise God. Is there another? Is there another?